I need to start a business. I need to find a way to keep growing and keep climbing a mountain, because if I don't, I feel I'm going to stay in the same place and stagnate for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and I'm going to regret it completely. So there was no individual, again, that pushed me to make the plunge. I think it was more, I got to a point where I just needed more. And a business was the most logical thing, because I've always enjoyed the idea of being a businessman, of being, I say this term, a bit of a mover and a shaker. I like the idea of making calls. I like the idea of being on my laptop in coffee shops and sending emails and making deals and speaking to clients and having meetings, but doing it for myself and not for another business. The idea of management's never, in a corporate job or in a corporate business, it's never really appealed to me personally, because I saw so many people as I was growing up climb that ladder and then just get booted straight off it. And not that it worried me, but I just thought that I'd be too annoyed to be in that position where I've worked 10, 20, 30 years of my life to help this business and they just kick you aside. And it will happen. It does happen. It's an unfortunate part of the corporate world, of big businesses. They don't care. And you can understand why, because when they're dealing with multi-million or multi-billion pound portfolios, one individual doesn't mean a massive amount to them. But that threw me off the idea of ever climbing up the corporate ladder. But I knew I needed to do more. And it's just so happened I sort of fell across video editing. Really genuinely enjoyed it. Done it for a few years to grow another form of business, or to grow affiliate marketing. And it didn't work, unfortunately. And then recently decided to actually start the business based on me, based on my personal brand, based on how I feel I can grow a successful video editing business and potentially move into other avenues. And that was the big kick for me, is realising I've got a skill, I can speak to people, I feel I can speak in front of a camera, we will find out. So let's go for it. And just taking that risk and realising the whole topic of this podcast is, if somebody else has done it, there is absolutely no reason I can't do it, because my ego is too big to admit that they're special and I'm not. So if they're special, I'm special, and I'm going to make it happen. So my ego is probably the best answer to that one, if I'm being completely honest. Another question generated by AI is, how would I like to inspire people? And I think I've said this a few times during this first episode, but I'd like to reiterate. I want any questions that you have to be sent over, and if I don't know the answer, I will give you my best version of an answer, or I will do my absolute best to give you an answer that's actually applicable. I want to inspire people to just take those steps, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a business. It could just be a sense of, you start to do a few more things within your job, or you start to maybe just have a side hustle of earning money on the side, or just enjoying something that or taking something that you enjoy and using it either in a business model or using it as a way to get on the camera and speak to the camera and show your expertise within that field. I want to teach people, and I want to teach people in real time, because I know that there was so many lessons I've learned, and there's going to be so many lessons I want to learn, that you can't really find a pen and paper way of doing. It is just trial and error. And whilst that, in my opinion, is the best way, I do think, again, another story, I had to make my website. I have no web developing skills whatsoever. I actually almost avoid my laptop, apart from when it comes to video editing, because I'm just, when it comes to the finding domains or generated anything, I don't even know any technical terms to speak about. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of it. But I forced myself to make my own website, and don't get me wrong, the platform that I used was amazing, and I'm not going to plug it here because this is all obviously ad free. But I remember trial and error, and just literally testing, clicking every button that was on the screen until either it worked or it didn't, and then I had to find another way to do it. And now, when I've had to go back and forth into it to make little changes, it's a lot easier. So I do definitely think trial and error is the easiest way for people to learn and the most effective way for people to learn. But I also know that there's going to be people that will run into that first hurdle and it will throw them because they've not got anything behind them to back them. They've got nothing to keep them accountable. They've got nobody to ask because they've got nobody around, because some of the life decisions that they've made or some of the positions that they've been put into have stopped them having that network around them. And I'd like to inspire people to either keep pushing regardless of what external factors you have around you, or to just ask a question, to just reach out and just think, I might not know what to do, but they might. And the worst that they can say is no. That's the worst thing that anybody can say to you when you message them. If you're asking a genuine question and you've genuinely tried yourself, is no. And I'd like to think people are nicer than that. I'd like to think people would actually try to help. So that's my big inspiration. I want to inspire you guys to take the steps that you've either been putting off, to do the things that you've been putting off, and to just reach just that level above. Even if it's not you want to be a multi-trillionaire, but you just push yourself that level above to get to where you can get to. That's my biggest source. They're the biggest people I'd like to inspire. It's just anybody who's trying to better themselves. Another aspect of this podcast is going to be what I'm calling Win of the Week. And this is another way that you guys can get involved in the show. I'd love it if I can start hearing wins that you guys have had. Doesn't even have to be financial. It can be the fact that you created your own website. It can be the fact that you started posting online and posting a video of your face. It can be the fact that you actually did speak to a client, or you sold a product, or you've done your side business and you've made some money. Anything that you're proud of and you want to share, I want to hear it, and I want to give some recognition, because again, you might not have people around you that are going to praise you. You might not have people around you at all. So when you do something, it's almost like that own internal celebration, and then you carry on. And whilst that's good, you should celebrate the successes you've achieved on your own. Because I know I do. I know when I built that website, I was over the moon. Regardless of what anybody around me said, I was over the moon. I had achieved something well out of my comfort zone and it looked good. In my opinion, I'm going to get people coming on now saying it's terrible, but I felt good. And I want that for others. I want people to be able to celebrate themselves, but then also think, oh no, I'm going to submit this to Callum. And I'll be honest, I think most of them I will, until it gets to a ridiculous number. I want to celebrate everything, because everybody should be proud of certain aspects of their life, and especially if it's well out of your comfort zone, or especially if it's something you've never done before, and you should have other people around you to cheer you on. So, as I say, this is going to be called Win of the Week. It works the same way. You can hit me up on my socials, which is ideally going to be Instagram and X, because that's where you can actually DM me. You'll find that under CR Video Editor, or there should be a link in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening, you can go to crvideoeditor.com and you'll find a link to all of my socials there, which again, you can send an email over with your win. If you'd like to include a video, or you'd like to include a voice note, by all means you can do. If you don't feel comfortable, that's not a problem. What you can do is just give me a little description of what your win is, how you did it, what you're proud of about it, and I'll either read it out or I'll use an AI voice generator to read it out. But any way that you feel comfortable and that you're going to send it in, feel free to, because I definitely want to build a community of people that are happy for other people. And another way you can do it is dropping it in the comments. But the one aspect I would ask is if there can be some sort of photographic, I say proof, just something so something I can share realistically. If I wanted to post it on YouTube and you were happy for me to do it, I can post it on there. Just make sure any key credentials are blacked out. We don't want to be giving people your bank details on YouTube. I'll notice that though, to be honest. I'll notice that and I can either block it out or not include it. But it's definitely a big aspect of what I want to include within these podcasts is everybody's winning and we're all winning together, and that's exactly how it should be. That's what platforms like this should be used for, is to celebrate all of us getting somewhere together. It will go a little bit something like, this is Sally. Sally sold 16 hair scrunchies for the first time on her e-commerce store on TikTok. She made a total of $52, and you can find Sally on Instagram, X, and she's also just started up her YouTube channel where she shows you how to plait your own scrunchies, something like that. A little bit more delivery, I'll work on that. That's definitely something I'll need to improve on. But just to give you a general idea of how we'll run through the wins of the week, so start getting them in as soon as possible, because I want to start shouting people out as soon as possible, saying with your questions.